Hello.
And welcome to We're Not Blowing Hot Air, powered by Oxygen Plus. I'm Scott.
And I'm Lauren.
And we're here to help elevate your IQ on wellness and business stuff that's sometimes misunderstood.
Oh, like recreational oxygen?
Yes.
Let's get smarter with this week's guest of We're Not Blowing Hot Air. On episode 3 of We're Not Blowing Hot Air, we all hail to the e-commerce king of Canada, Chris Parsons, for the insights he gives on surviving today's world of consumer packaged goods. Chris, the director of e-commerce at Home Hardware and a highly regarded expert in the digital space, shares research and even makes some predictions for future business trends related to the all-too-important customer journey experience. Find out why you may want to do your holiday shopping right after Halloween this year. Plus, enjoy the musical notes of Roy Alexander, all on this episode of We're Not Blowing Hot Air. Chris Parsons, the e-commerce king of Canada. Welcome.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good to see you.
It's great. So good to have you here on We're Not Blowing Hot Air. Thank you for coming today.
No, I'm excited to be here. You guys are fantastic. I've been watching what you're doing, and it's going to take off. I'm really excited to see the future guests that you have, and I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be one of the first.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
I mean, in all honesty, you helped inspire us to get going. I mean, your podcast, Delivering E-commerce, is something we listen to. We're inspired by not only the content, which is delivering great business news, which I hope you can talk to more, but also just, the fact that you did a podcast, right? I mean, it's a lot of pieces to put together to make one finished, polished piece of art.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny. I watched an episode of Joe Rogan, and it's an older episode, and he talks about having natural conflict in your life. And if you don't have this conflict, then you have actually conflict in your personal life. So create conflict, create these areas where it's forcing you to be better, do better, and then it will actually give you a better personal life. And it's interesting that I took doing a podcast during a COVID pandemic, while things were already crazy enough. But it's like self-torture, and I'm really enjoying it. And you guys are actually going to be the first ones to hear that I just broke 1,000 subscribers on my channel as of yesterday. So really excited about that. I know a lot of YouTubers have far more following than that, but I just started out 3 months ago, and to be up to 1,000 already is really exciting.
Congratulations. Yeah. That's great.
I mean, you've had an incredible career. You've always been a hard worker, and you've always known about teamwork and how to work with others. So I'd love for you to share more about how you started out a team at Walmart in Canada and how you helped that grow on the e-com side, and then all the way up until what you're doing now at the Canadian version of Home Depot, which Canadians will know, but we don't know the name of that store.
Yeah, it's Home Hardware and
Home Hardware.
Yeah, Home Hardware.
That's
actually,
right,
to give you a really good example of who it's like is Ace in the US, where it's a wholesale environment. And we started out as a wholesaler. Now our journey is to become this integrated retailer. And what we mean by that is we really want to provide our 1,000+ dealers with a much richer experience and not just sell them goods. We want to make sure that we're helping them with their brand story, giving them tools to help in this new digital world, and really highlight what makes our stores so strong. And that's the customer service that they get. When you walk into some of those other big boxes, you're really kind of self-serve. And with us, it's well known across Canada when you come into a Home Hardware that you're treated as if you're family. A lot of our stores are in a local community, so shopping local is important to us. But at the same time, we know people by name. We're able to help them. We know if they've just built a fence, what their next project will be, and we make great suggestions. And we're just there for them. And I really appreciated that about the business, and that's why I decided to join 2.5 years ago. But yeah, my background, I've been doing e-commerce since 1994. It was all by accident. I was late for a meeting, and my boss basically said, "Can you take on building an e-commerce site for Walmart Canada?" And no one ever believes that story, but it's absolutely true. And I flew to Bentonville. I grabbed the book HTML for Dummies, and learned how to code on a flight. Learned grabbed Dreamweaver while I was in Bentonville and flew back home with some basic coding skills and started building Walmart.ca. And it was the best learning experience I've ever had because I was able to do marketing, development, merchandising, social media, you name it. I was doing it all. So it really rounded out my capabilities and allowed me to grow my career, which a lot of people don't get a chance because most people are siloed. They go into email, they go into social media, and they kind of stick in that lane versus me being able to go across all of the aspects of e-commerce. So I was very fortunate, and to do it for such a large company was great. And then 2012, I went over to a company called Newegg.com. One of the bigger retailers was a pure play, and they launched in Canada. They had just launched. I went over there as director of marketing. A few months later, I was promoted to the country manager, and then a year later, I was promoted to global country manager and launched 8 countries for Newegg. A lot of stuff in between that, but ultimately a couple of pet companies that I worked for, Wren's and Big Al's, and then finally got the call to come over here. And I couldn't turn it down. It's such an iconic brand. Like this is the brand that your father shopped, and now we can make it relevant for new generations. And I'm lucky to be a part of it.
That's awesome, fantastic. And anything more you want to say about delivering e-commerce? I think right now people can just remember. We'll put a link in the bottom of the description of this episode so you can go follow it. But anything else you want to say about what you're highlighting or doing with that?
Yeah, I mean, really, I'll try to make a long story short, but I grew up with a learning disability, and with that learning disability, basically was told I wouldn't amount to anything from my teachers, which was great messaging back then. They don't do that anymore, thankfully. And one of the things I try to do is do some public speaking, encourage kids. I coach hockey, and you see kids with learning disabilities on the team. And you know what? It's funny that they can all pick up a hockey, which is one of the hardest things to skate on a blade this thin or thick, and ultimately they're able to do it. They can learn all these great skills in a sport, but at school they struggle. So to me, it shows a conflict. There's something that's disconnecting, whether it's a lack of interest. They have the skill set to learn, and I just go in and try to motivate kids. So taking that, I decided to do a podcast. So basically, if I generate revenue from the podcast, not yet, but soon, I want to be able to donate to local charities that work with kids with learning disabilities to help them out. So trying to do a little bit of giving back, since I've been so fortunate in my life to struggle early on, but then find my stride in my 20s. It's exciting. I've had 18 episodes now recorded delivering e-commerce with special guests, just much like this format right here. And my guests are so strong across North America, not just Canada. And we talk about everything from social media to micro influencers, you name it. We cover all the topics for e-commerce and retail. And I appreciate the 1,000 subs.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on.
That's great.
You mentioned the last 18 months, with the pandemic and everything. So what were the challenges over the course of the last 18 months with the COVID pandemic and everything in the world of e-com? Or what were some of the things that, retailers that have an online presence are trying to overcome? What about some of like the physical challenges? I mean, we're in the CPG category. And what about some of the physical challenges with like just the merchandise that's being sold, like in terms of having that product ready for people? Because the shift, there was, I'm assuming, just a massive shift where now people are just solely reliant on buying online as opposed to physical retail. Like, what happened there? What did retailers need to do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I shouldn't say so obviously, home hardware has been a natural buy online, pick up in store. We haven't offered ship to home, where every other retailer was ship to home. They had that in place. But for us, we had the other model. And we did that because of our wholesale environment. And we wanted to drive traffic to our dealers for many years. So from us, we just had to communicate message. We had buy online, pick up in store. But the add-on to that was that whole curbside pickup component, which from a logistical standpoint, you try to do that in stores, it's a nightmare. Those poor staff are running from shelf to shelf, trying to fulfill orders. Like they've become now all of a sudden a warehouse, and they weren't trained to be a warehouse. They were trained to be sales associates and customer service associates. And now all of a sudden they're going up and down aisles, completing packages for customers to take it out to their car. And you can imagine a lot of retailers didn't have a great pickup in at store process. So they're now implementing, whether it's a mobile PIN code, here's a phone number to call, making signage for parking spots to say, this is your parking spot 1 to whatever number. And none of that existed before, right? Like, okay, grocery was testing out some of it, but it didn't exist for the majority of retailers, and customers were just learning it as we implemented it. And, usually you like to test those type of things in retail and get a sample group before you roll it out to all stores, but it was just go. And then from a product perspective, in the lumber industry, which was really interesting, was a lot of retailers struggled. But in lumber, everyone decided to invest in their home and redo XYZ projects. And lumber prices went through the roof. There was a shortage of demand on those products. And so while
still is, right? That's still happening.
It's still happening. Prices are trickling down a little bit because now with things opening up, people are looking at travel again. They're looking at their wardrobes, dressing up a little bit more versus, historically in the last 18 months, I would probably be in a t-shirt or a golf shirt. So they're now looking at their wardrobe, and those dollars are shifting, right? They're shifting away from project-based at your home to, self-gratification. Maybe I would like to go out and get a new shirt. I'll tell you a secret. Mine is not even buttoned up because my neck is so fat now from COVID weight that I just pull that tie up tight. So like everyone needs a new wardrobe, right?
I remember the last time I wore a tie.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while.
I've never seen you in a tie, Scott.
Yeah. Many people don't.
Okay.
It doesn't happen often.
What if there's one thing we really need to think about, or maybe like that I shouldn't worry about, Chris? Help me not worry and be fearful of anything, like or to take precautions. Like what are those things that both businesses and consumers could be doing right now in this kind of uncertain landscape of e-commerce and retail? How and the mix of the two of e-com and retail?
Yeah, so I've been referring to it as a harmonized retail experience, and I get that. Actually, there's a book right behind me, Remarkable Retail, and it talks about this concept of harmonized. So no longer is it considered an omni-channel experience. It's a harmonized experience. Customers shop all channels now. They just choose what time of day they're going to do what. But ultimately, the logistics is the biggest hurdle that e-commerce and retail has to overcome over the next probably 18 months or so. Production slowed in a lot of warehouses or manufacturing plants. It's slowed or it stopped completely because they had COVID running rampant through a lot of those manufacturing plants, so they couldn't produce it. So there's a shortage on microchips for fridges, for electronics. There's a shortage on importing of goods. You got ports that are backed up for months. So the one thing I've been telling people right now is to really think and consider the next few holidays that are coming up. And when I say holidays, I mean like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and obviously the Christmas season, or happy holidays, whatever people want to call it. I don't want to offend anyone, so I got to be careful.
I'll get in Hanukkah that. Then.
Right, Hanukkah, but
season, yeah.
But ultimately, I think consumers that if you're shopping or traditionally shop in any of those promotions, you're going to want to rethink those promotions and how valuable they're going to be for you. I don't see in a lot of where electronics is usually key in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I don't see the deals being as dominant because there has been a shortage on product and goods. So, why would a retailer discount for the sake of discounting? They're the only ones probably holding on to enough product to have it. I think, as you want to buy gifts for your family or friends, you're going to want to shop early because the flow of goods is not happening the way it should be. And any retailers that have something that you like right now, if you see it go on sale, I would be snapping it up now before waiting for the holiday season. I mean, you might save an extra 5 or 10% when it goes on sale closer to Christmas, but you might not get it at all. So I would think about shopping early.
What could happen for little Timmy on Christmas Day? Like, I mean, like
Yeah.
what, like paint a bleak picture and then let's laugh about it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what if products are slow to arrive and they're not going to come in until, some of them might not even make shelf until December, January. If they get into December, they're right on time, so they'll be great for dads who are last minute shoppers. But from a mom who's looking, if it's not in the first couple of weeks of November, I think everyone gets to right after we have Remembrance Day here on November 11th, and then everybody gets into Christmas. But it's that kind of November to December timeframe. If people are not seeing the goods they want, they're going to be in trouble. And I really think that's going to be a reality, that stuff is coming. It's going to come in January. So I think what you're going to see, and no one's going to call it out to the customer and say, this is what's happening. But I think what will happen is there will be events that retailers make up. And what I mean by that is they'll do a holiday promotion in October, or they'll now all of a sudden miss Christmas, and then, a think tank will get together and they'll launch a Christmas in January, right? Because they now have the goods. So I think retailers are going to have to be creative. I think if a consumer wants to protect themselves, they need to connect the dots. They're watching the news, they're hearing about these stories. A lot of us are on LinkedIn and maybe not highly engaged in e-commerce, but you see the articles out there already of what other retailers, what Amazon's doing, what Walmart's doing. If you start connecting those dots, you start to see the patterns of a shortage of goods. And I mean, it really takes common sense too, right? Like, think about 18 months of COVID. What's the impact and trickle down effect in all cross sectors of manufacturing and building products? And now we're gonna be a little bit slow to the market with these things, I think, anyways. And I mean, that'll be my advice: is shop early, or you're going to have to find another way to have, maybe it's not product, maybe it's trips, because the market's open back up and everyone's going to take some vacation around Christmas time, and that's their present to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good prediction, I think, there.
Yeah. I was wondering if, are there online retailers that are expecting a higher online purchase volume throughout the next, like 6 to 8 months, talking about like the rest of the year into the holiday season, and then into like, the first couple of months of next year, like you said, when goods might actually be coming into stock and things like that, because of kind of unknown COVID situations, maybe in certain geographies. We're seeing like, higher case counts and things like that. Is there a general expectation of higher e-com purchasing for like the holidays or the last part of the year?
You mean versus retail,
like physical
in-store?
retail? Yeah.
Yeah. So I've said this a few times, I think, and we're starting to see it with numbers, but I think there will be a slowdown in e-commerce. It won't have the continued growth that it has had. It will have more engaged consumers. Maybe more people now will start researching online, but people have this demand, and we're all social creatures. I think a lot of people are going to want to get back out, get into the stores. It's been, in our heads, it's so glamorous to be in a mall and shopping. And I think we forgot about how painful it actually is to be out and shopping with a bunch of people trying to fight for product. And, you're in a mall environment and they've got one medium left, and the next thing you know, the guy takes it and you're out of luck. You can't get that item. You now have to actually buy it online anyway. So I think once we get out there over the next 3 or 4 months, customers will experience that, they'll live it, and then all of a sudden they're going to now say, you know what, I preferred shopping online. It was more convenient. I was able to get what I wanted. Now, I do think categories like apparel will strive. And, like, I know my size of apparel or jeans, and if I'm loyal to my same jeans, and yes, I'm that predictable, I buy the same jeans over and over again. I don't really take a risk on another set of jeans. So I can now order those online. And
I'm right there with you, buddy.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, I think logistics is accelerated for all companies. Like Shopify even is now offering a delivery service to help out their network of people. Like the main difference between an Amazon FBA and what Shopify is doing is Shopify has a bunch of sellers that create their own stores, their own microsites and websites, versus Amazon has a marketplace and everyone just sells through that one portal. But they're realizing they need to provide tools and technology to help their sellers, because how many people shop a Shopify store, and it's someone fulfilling out of their basement. Like, I ran a company called Hockey Socks for a number of years, and that was my own business. And I was delivering those orders. And what a lot of people don't know is there's actually insurance liabilities. If you're delivering that package in your own personal vehicle, your insurance is not covered. So as you start to mature in your business, there's things that you want to avoid, and Shopify is allowing sellers to take advantage of those things. And Amazon's got the great FBA service as well. So Amazon takes that all in control themselves, and they basically say, okay, you, for a fee, list your items with us. You put the items into our DC, and we will take all of that away from you for a fee, and we will fulfill and get it to your customers on time.
And that's FBA. That's fulfilled by Amazon.
Yeah. Well, Amazon was smart. I mean, a number of years ago when they wanted to do next day shipping, and now, I mean, I can order stuff like last night and I'll have it today. So I think they were smart. They understood that customers want it now. And they realized that years ago. And I guess they saw people lining up for products like the latest and greatest iPhone, and how they would camp out for these things. And so they knew that there was a demand there, and they really focused on their logistics and opening up multiple warehouses, creating their own fleets, so that way they can get it to customers. And, for a while there, and I don't know if they're still doing this, but they were partnered with OnStar, and they were able to deliver to trunk of your car. So you could be in your office, they would send the package, get the OnStar rep, open up your trunk, and put the package right in. So those were some innovative things that they did. And we watch it from a distance. I don't know how our customers would adapt to that. We do have an audience that moves a little bit slower when it comes to embracing digital, but eventually we'll be there, and maybe we'll just leapfrog and do drone delivery.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to deliver Oxygen Plus via drones.
Drones, yeah.
I thought that would be the cool, because it's flight,
Yeah, I love that.
That's flight. Great.
And I mean, I think drone is going to be a game changer when that happens. Like, you think about our customers and the fact that they're doing a project, and they might be fixing a deck in their backyard, and they forgot to order, I don't know, a set of screws. They don't have to put their stuff away. They don't have to get in the car. They don't have to go to the store and get those screws. They lose an hour of productivity. They can order from their mobile device or voice search and say, hey, get me these things, and a drone delivers it to your backyard. That's the future I want to be in now.
I just don't want to deal with any customers that are like, the drone dropped in my neighbor's pool, like stuff like that. Like, those things are like flying out of the sky right now. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
But no, that's really great.
That's really interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I wanted to throw out a question, because that makes me think, where do things go from here? Like, we already had that next day or same day delivery, and it's, everything is so easy. I just pick up my phone, I go buy now, it's there. Where is it going from here? Is there anything that is being done or thought of to make it even better than it already is, shopping online?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I keep asking for, and I'm trying to find a partner on, is I want to create a universal shopping cart. And what I mean by that is a cart that is on my site, but is also on Sephora. It's also on Home Depot's site. And ultimately, when it's a customer shopping website, they can build their cart. They can buy 5 items from me, 10 items from somebody else. It doesn't matter. They do one checkout and they're done. And it can happen because it's just digital information passing through retailer to retailer on one credit card. Why make a customer check out 3 or 4 times when they're sitting at home doing some couch surfing? I think it's ridiculous. So a universal cart, I think, is where the industry needs to go.
So Amazon's a force.
Yep.
Shopify is starting to become a force in terms of providing products to consumers on demand. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think you're going to shop more based on experience versus shopping like we do now. Like, you kind of just walk into that store, you need a few things, you end up building a bigger basket because you've got all this signage coming at you telling you need stuff, so you just add it to your cart. Whereas I think, especially coming out of COVID, you value those things that you've missed. You value time with your family, experiences. So you're going to go and do those things, and then you're going to shop and buy stuff that will help those experiences become more rich.
Scott, I want to know how you're going to change your consumer behavior patterns, or your shopping, how you shop for this Christmas, based on what the e-commerce king of Canada, Chris Parsons, has just dropped today.
It sounds like I'm going to be doing some online pantry stuffing for holidays, though. I'm doing my Christmas shopping.
You're going to tell that to your
really
wife?
early.
Yeah. Doing some pantry stuffing for you.
You know what? It works.
Christmas.
It works out because she always shops early anyway. So maybe it won't be that big of a deal.
If you start shopping before she does, will that freak her out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Chris, we thank you for telling us how to have not just a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah and other things that we don't want to get in trouble with if we say one or more holidays.
Right.
I don't know.
All of the holidays.
All of the holidays.
All the holidays included.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
To my mom, especially. She likes to say Merry Christmas, not Happy Holidays. So we're going to have a very awesome holiday. Maybe you can come back in the heat of the busiest season, Chris.
Yeah, I'd love to. And see how right we were.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do that. That would be amazing. You follow what's actually happening in your own business, but the future trends and current trends, and you really care about what this is and how it affects businesses and people. So I think, can you share one more time about Chris Parsons delivering e-commerce, how people can follow you so they stay sharp and smart when they shop or sell?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, guys. I'm a student of retail, and ultimately that's what you get out of delivering e-commerce is a lot of information, whether it's logistics, marketing, best practices, et cetera, et cetera. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search Chris Parsons. I think I'm the first person that comes up. You can look for delivering e-commerce on LinkedIn, or you can follow delivering e-commerce on YouTube and on Spotify. And yeah, I would give my email, but email is no longer a tactic I try to use anymore because it's just too much junk mail coming in. So LinkedIn is the best spot to reach me.
Awesome. Amazing. All right. Ding, ding, ding. You're going to have a lot of notifications.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas to you, Chris.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. I'm looking forward to the holiday. I think everyone missed out entertaining family and getting together, regardless of what holiday they were celebrating. So I think everyone is really looking forward to hosting again until they make that turkey and screw it up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, hopefully there's more opportunity to get together for people this season. So, well, Chris, thank you so much. It's been so informative and fun. We appreciate you being on the podcast. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Go rate and review We're Not Blowing Hot Air so more people are aware of wellness and business stuff that deserves more oxygen. And subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an exciting episode.
Thanks for listening. But before we go, check out this episode's featured artist, Roy Alexander.
I'm consumed and I'm doomed. Pull close the black curtains. This heat is gonna burn like hell. My constants steer my sockets dry. Control is all illusion. The rain is just a witness to the falling of my spine onto these muddy stones. Give us no support. Then a backfire begins. This kickback in my chest, my blistered skin helps me remember how fragile and hopeless I am. The key is to remain unquenchable. While we crawled, we prayed to no one, as if no one were listening. All replies came in painful cries, this deadly imitation of life. It's a semblance, it's symbiotic, I guess I'll take it. And the backfire begins, this kickback in my chest. My blistered skin helps helps me remember